All right, today is December 20th. It is a Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. Today's development, we're going to talk about the Empire State Building as a symbol of the American spirit, of a steadfast determination to achieve the impossible. This is a quote someone gave the Empire State Building when it's completed. Why do you think someone wrote this about the Empire State Building, and how do you think it symbolizes the American spirit? That's today's bell ringer. So write down the best answer you can about the fact that we can build the world's tallest building during such difficult economic times. That's something that really is impressive, and we can make that happen. So we continue on here, moving forward with Hoover's effort to try to help get people out of the Depression. You'll find out here at some point that Hoover's efforts really seem to be a lot compared to what happens after he leaves office. But I do want to give you some of these efforts here that Hoover tries to do, and kind of as a form of retrospective, let you see that maybe some of this stuff can happen in theory, but then it doesn't happen, and kind of what's the difference between the two. All right. So when the Great Depression began, Hoover were allowed to turn things around. We read through the book, pages 424 to 425. And also, when you do this, go on my Canvas page, download the notes page that's there if you haven't gotten one already. Download that, print that, and kind of enter your answers here throughout this area. This is a question that you need to kind of answer. We read a section of the book, 424, 425, about Hoover's limited action, about Hoover's limited ability to get things turned around. Hoover really relies on big businesses to turn things around and voluntary action. Now, if I ask you the question right now, would you trust voluntary actions within big businesses to help get the economy going again? When I asked this question, most of the students probably did not raise their hands and say no to this. So it lets you know that people don't really have a big trust in business. And Hoover believes big business is going to help things out at this point during the Great Depression to really turn things around. So voluntary action in big business, businesses are going to essentially keep wages the same. They're going to voluntarily keep wages the same throughout the Depression. But the question then I then ask is, why would that be difficult to maintain? If you're a business who can't get loans from banks, who can't really make any profits on anything because no one's able to buy stuff because no one has any money. All right. Why is keeping wages the same difficult to maintain from this idea, from a business standpoint? All right. So think about that. And we discussed this question in class a little bit moving forward. You probably will see it on the notes page as well. However, we do look at now a video, which is also up on Canvas, about the Boulder Dam, which later becomes known as the Hoover Dam, which is a hydroelectric power plant that helps to power a lot of the Las Vegas and Los Angeles cities at that point. And there's 17 turbines in this dam. And they're massive in terms of being able to help generate electricity for two of the larger cities on the West Coast. Right? So we do watch a video on this and how it's built, and that video is on Canvas. It's the entire episode of the video. I do put the times there for you. So if you look at those times, you can really use that to your advantage to see what kind of times you should really watch. I think it's from 6:11 to 18:43. That's the timing of the video. Just pick between. All right. So we watched the video. After we're done with that, we move on to other government action. We talk about the Empire State Building. We talk about the Hoover Dam. We talk about the 21st Amendment. These three things help see the government action. Government is willing to do something to help make the lives better for Americans at this point. However, the next thing that happens is the Hawley-Smoot tariff. Now, this is the highest import tax in history, and we do lead a discussion forward about why is this important. And the answers you get from most of the class, and they're the correct answers, is that you really want to draw attention for American consumers towards American business. If you're competing with foreign countries for business, you're not going to make as much money as you want. So if you increase the import taxes around the world, for goods coming in around the world, you make American goods that much more desirable, which is Hoover's goal. He wants to build American businesses up. He doesn't want to build British or French or Spanish businesses. He wants to build American businesses. So he creates this import tax to bring it in, bring all of American business back to America, in terms of the spending aspect of it. All right. So let's bring this one back. However, the problem with this is that Europe countered with their own tariffs that have the same goal in mind as the United States, to favor businesses within their own country. As a result, trade comes to a halt, and world economies grow much weaker at this point. So, this tariff means well, but again, at the same time, if you're trying to rebuild a world economy, this is not the way to do it, and to increase tariffs to make American businesses more desirable. Yes, you can help American businesses, but at the same time, your businesses are also going to rely on foreign sales as well, sales from foreign countries, not just in America. Now, America's dealing with this depression, and whoever's buying stuff from America, yes, they're helping, but at the same time, it's probably not what many of these countries want to see in terms of the sheer numbers and sheer scale. All right. So, brief government action here of the Hawley-Smoot tariff. And then we move on to another area, which is our last slide for the day, called the Reconstruction Finance Corporation. Now, this is what you would note and see as trickle-down economics. The graphic here kind of shows this. I know it might be kind of blurry for you, but if you look at this, you have the federal aid that gets dumped in this big bucket, and it gets trickled down to each level, so on afterwards. The crooks people have with this, or the problem that people have with this, is the fact that aid goes to the wrong places. Aid here goes to the federal money, credit, dollars go to industry, railroads, and insurance companies. I mean, people who really, according to many people in the Depression, don't need the cash. These people don't need cash. They don't need extra money. They have been spending it all for themselves and kind of wasted it on themselves. So people argue that this is not the way to start. However, Hoover says we're not going to do what we can to give everybody in America an extra kick. We're going to let businesses get this extra credit and do the right thing with it. However, Hoover, as an executive, does not enforce these policies and just says, all right, businesses, here's your money, do whatever you wish with it, but I hope you do the right thing with it. Without being checked, many businesses, like many people think today, won't do the right thing. All right? So it also lends money to banks, because many banks lost a lot of money because depositors wanted to take their money out. But many banks wanted to get their money back, so they called all their people that they lent money to. All the borrowers, they call them and they say, we need our money back immediately. Most borrowers can't pay that money. So when this corporation gets started, it lends money to banks so they can extend the loans. So loans I give to different people as my customers, I can let them keep those loans and pay them back over time. Hopefully I will get them eventually. So that way it's not, ruining other companies as well. Now, this Reconstruction Finance Corporation really hurts middle-class Americans because it gives money only to the bankers and to big business leaders, and it only helps those people without actually doing much aid to those at the bottom, which is why you see this graphic here, why it's so effective. By the time you get to the bottom, down here, it really becomes a massive drop-off as to how much aid the bottom part of the groups see. All right, so and that's why people really don't like this. They call this trickle-down economics. It'll trickle down everything. You give them more money, they'll trickle that down, and they'll see more funds given to people at the lower ends of that company. Most people don't think that's going to happen. In theory, it's supposed to work, but if it's not led correctly by a strong executive in the president, then it's not going to work out. If it's just say, here's your money, we trust you to do the right thing, most people realize that there's not much trust involved there, and it's a big problem that many people face. All right. So tomorrow we're going to look at some issues with World War I veterans who were promised bonuses, and we're going to take a look at these much closer. So get the notes. We're not finished with the notes yet on the page that you had to download, but get that, download it, and you'll be good to go. All right. So this is all we got to today. Well, check out that video too on Canvas. It does a really, really good job. All right. Everyone have a fantastic day. See ya. Bye.